Hey guys, I'm Dr. Duc Vuong. I'm a world famous bariatric surgeon, author of 13 books. I've trained other surgeons. I have lots of surgeon colleagues that are international, and the news that they are giving us from international numbers is really, really terrifying. So this video, I want to talk about real quick why this is not an old person's disease. When you look at the data from China, the deaths that were coming from China were 80-year-old men who smoked. So we assume that only old people die from this disease, and the answer is it's not true. Okay. First of all, a lot of people are still saying, "Hey, isn't this just like the worst case of the flu, like a stronger case of the flu? Don't most people recover? Why are we panicking? Why are we panicking?" Well, because 3% of people are going to die. The current international data, today is Saturday, March 21st. We have 277,000 cases worldwide. 277,000 cases worldwide with 11,700 deaths. And that is a death rate of 4%. 4%, okay? It's higher than the 3% that was projected. Currently in the United States, the death rate is 1.7%. These are the numbers, right? I've been wrong. I will admit to you that I've been telling y'all that this is a terrible disease. Things are happening and it's looking bad. And I'm going to be the first one to admit to you, I'm wrong. Why am I wrong? It's a lot worse than what I've been telling you. It is a lot worse than what I've been telling you. I thought we would get to March 22nd tomorrow and have 16,000 cases. We're already at 18,000 cases a day ahead of time. Tomorrow we're going to get there and we'll have 25,000 cases in the United States alone with a roughly 1.7 or 2% death rate. Right? We're going to have about 500 deaths. We already around 280 deaths, and it's only going to get worse. Now, back to the age. So people thought that this was an old person's disease. First of all, don't believe anything that comes out of China. I don't believe it. They're reporting about 80,000 cases and 3,500 deaths, 3,300, 3,100 deaths, right? Well, Italy, I believe Italy, because Italy is our trading partner, one of our friends, host countries, etc. They have half the number of cases. There are over 40,000 cases now in Italy, and they have 4,000 deaths. So it doesn't take a genius to do the math and say, shit, man, that death rate's 10%, 8 to 10% is what we're seeing in Italy. And I have Italian colleagues who are reporting that, it is a real disaster there. They cannot take care of the dead. They're out of ventilators. If you are over 80 and you come down with coronavirus, they are not intubating you. I'm going to do a video tomorrow about how you die from coronavirus. That's pretty gruesome. And they can't keep up with the number of patients. They are turning waiting rooms into treatment, like they're putting beds in waiting rooms just to triage patients. They are really, really overwhelmed. They don't have enough coroners to take care of all the dead bodies, so they're trying to figure out what's happening there. Okay, your doctor, your surgeon does not want to be your judge, jury, and sentencer, executioner. We never want to have to say, hey, you get to live and you get to die. And this is terrible, okay? So we believe the Italian data, and the Italian data goes up like this, right? Every country is falling in line with Italian data. There's 150 countries now with coronavirus, and they're all coming up and joining the Italian data. There are two outliers. One is Hong Kong, which blunted it early on. So if you have friends or loved ones in Hong Kong that says, hey, life's back to normal, hey, listen, they're an outlier. You can't believe them. Singapore has kind of controlled it too, so they didn't have a bad infection. You always throw out the outliers, right? Because there's something they did differently. We can learn from them, but there's something they did differently. Everybody else is tracking into the Italian data. And I just told you, Italy is overwhelmed, out of respirators. They're letting people die. They're not being able to treat people. Italy is 2 weeks ahead of us. Italy is 2 weeks ahead of us. And compared to the United States, compared to Italy, yesterday, we officially surpassed Italy in terms of, we are worse off than Italy. Where Italy was 2 weeks ago, we are less prepared than Italy. We have more cases per capita than Italy had 2 weeks ago. We have more deaths than Italy had 2 weeks ago. We are way ahead of Italy. This is not good, guys. I'm telling you that Italy, a lot of people don't realize, has more hospital beds than the United States. So Italy has like 12 to 13. The way they measured it is per 1,000. So per 1,000 people, Italians, they have 12 to 13 hospital beds. Guess how many hospital beds the United States have for its citizens? 2.8 hospital beds per 1,000 people. That's hospital beds. Listen, guys, we don't have enough hospital beds. We are going to run out of respirators. We're going to run out of ventilation machines, all right? This is really, really terrible. Now, this is not a disease of the old. Dr. Vuong, the Chinese people, it's like 80-year-old men, but they were smokers. And I don't believe anything out of them. And honestly, my Italian colleagues who I trust, they are telling me that this is a younger and younger disease, okay? And I'm going to tell you the United States is going to be susceptibly hit. Why? We have this thing that we are world leaders at called morbid obesity. Morbid obesity puts you at high risk. Now, why am I doing coronavirus if I'm a weight loss surgeon? Because that's my expertise. My following is weight loss surgery patients, the morbidly obese. Y'all get it now? And so you guys are following me for weight loss stuff, and I'm trying to save your asses by telling you take this shit more seriously because you are at risk. It stops saying it's an old man's disease. It's not. You guys are a different demographic. The United States will be different demographics than what comes out of China. Don't trust the Chinese data. It does not apply to you. Trust the Italian data because we are much more like Italians. Americans are much more like Italians. We have similar obesity rates. We're heavier than Italians, but Italians are chunky too, man. Trust me. Some of the forefathers of weight loss surgery were Italian surgeons. Okay, so they've been leading us on this obesity epidemic, but we are even more obese than Italians. Now we know there's a correlation. If you're old, who dies from coronavirus? Yes, we know that old people and immunocompromised people with diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, oddly, respiratory disease, respiratory illnesses, asthma, right? So it's a lung disease, right? Now we know morbid obesity. Morbid obesity puts you at high risk of dying from this coronavirus, okay? So I've been telling y'all for a week, the Italians have started, the Europeans have started canceling elective surgeries, and they've started canceling clinics. And I told y'all a week ago, your weight loss surgery is getting canceled. So comment if your weight loss surgery has been canceled, if your weight loss surgery has been postponed, if your weight loss surgery meetings have been canceled for now, if you've gone to telemedicine, comment below if that's you. If you're already seeing it, you were supposed to have surgery next week, but it's been canceled. They are canceling all the major elective surgeries. It's the major cities, New York City, San Francisco is on freaking lockdown, I have a friend who I really respect. Said, Doc, I love you and your F-bombs, but you would reach more people if you toned it down. So maybe he got through to me. So I almost said fuck just then. See, I'm getting better. I'm trying, y'all. So hit share for me, just for Dr. V trying to cut down the F-bombs. How about that? That's worth the share, right? Let's get this message out. So they've canceled elective bariatric surgeries, right? And they're canceling all elective surgery. So remember, the coronavirus is a +1. It's an add-on. You still have the traumas, the gunshot wounds, you still have the stabbings, you still have the hot gallbladders, the hot appendixes, you still have the skiers who are skiing right now, who are breaking their arms and legs, you still have the cancer patients who need to come in for the chemotherapy, you still have the pregnant women, ladies, God bless you if you're expecting soon. And you're scared because your doctors are like going to telemedicine and they're not available and you're worried. What's going to happen? What's going to happen if your baby comes premature or there's a problem? Like my 3.5-year-old spent 3 days in the NICU because she had a small fever and her oxygen saturation dropped down. So they put her in the NICU for 3 days. Now what's going to happen if a month from now we're out of respirators, we're out of nursings, we're out of room, and your baby is sick? Now listen, I'm not fear-mongering. Screw you if you think I'm fear-mongering. See, I didn't say fuck. See, I'm getting better. Screw you if you think I'm fear-mongering, because this could be your wife. This could be your sister who's expecting. And I'm telling you the truth. You're going to run out of hospital beds. We're not going to have enough staff. And I don't wish that upon her. I don't wish it upon you. I'm just telling you, you have to take this much more seriously. You've got to isolate. You can't sit there and go, this is a disease of old people, Dr. V. All right. Now, how do I know this is not? Because number one, we have morbid obesity. And a lot of you guys are overweight. 40% of Americans are obese, morbidly obese. And it's younger and younger and younger. You just comment, put a 1 in the comment section if you or a loved one has a 30-year-old person, you know someone who's 30 years, like 40 years old or younger, 40 years old or younger who's morbidly obese. Put a 1 in the comment section if you have a friend or loved one who's 40 years old or younger and is morbidly obese. It could be your coworker, it could be your cousin, niece, whatever. They are at higher risk for coronavirus complications. Now listen, this is a new virus. I've been saying this, so nobody's immune to this virus. Even Dr. Vuong. If I come into contact with this virus, I'm going to come down with the flu. Yes, 80% of you guys will have a case of the flu and you'll recover. Yes, I get it. So I will probably have, if I come in contact with it, I'll have fever a few days, body aches, the typical flu stuff, and then I'll get better. But the problem is when you have contracted it and before you have symptoms, you are passing it on. You're transmitting it on average to 2.5 people. You're transmitting it to your mom and your grandmother, and you don't have symptoms. You don't think you're sick. Are you hearing me? You don't think you're sick. All right? And then, so your brother, right? Your sister, your coworkers, all these ones that are coming up. Listen. So now they're going to go from asymptomatic, not having symptoms, and then suddenly, boom, like that. Because it's a respiratory illness, they're going to go downhill really fast. They don't have the lung reserve, y'all. They might already have asthma. They might already take an inhaler. They might already have COPD. They can't breathe. And they're only 30 years old, okay? How do I know coronavirus is going to hurt the younger? Number one, morbid obesity. Morbid obesity. Dr. Vuong, you're just speculating. Okay, fucker. Sorry. 2, I have a colleague in New York who said, the infectious disease expert in his hospital, has 4 people on ventilators with coronavirus in New York. 4 people on ventilators in New York City who are in their 30s on ventilators, and they don't have any comorbidities. They don't have asthma. They don't have diabetes. The only thing they have is a BMI greater than 30. That's it. And BMI of greater than 30 is 40 pounds overweight, y'all. It's not that heavy. It is your wife who just had a baby. It is your niece who is a freshman in college. You know, hopefully she's not a freshman at 30, but you understand what I'm saying about BMI of 30. So they have 4 patients who are intubated with coronavirus in their 30s. And the only comorbidity they have is the fact that their BMI is 30 or more. This is not an old person's disease. You're going to see it. It's going to hit you. Everybody's going to be affected by it, okay? So if you have a loved one who is not taking this seriously, who is young, who's on spring break, who thinks they're invincible, who thinks this is a government conspiracy, please hit share right now. Take it from me. I'm Dr. Duc Vuong. I'm a world-famous bariatric surgeon. I have friends who are on the front lines of what's happening. My friends in Italy, my surgeon colleagues in Italy are telling us it's a disaster. And the United States is behind Italy by 2 weeks, and we're in worse shape than where Italy was 2 weeks ago. Italy cannot keep up with the number of dead people. I'm just going to say it like it is, man. They cannot bury their dead. And we are behind them in terms of preparedness. We have more cases where they were 2 weeks ago. We are behind the curve. We are officially worse than Italy 2 weeks ago. Think about that, all right? So all of the naysayers, and I'm so sad because I have doctor friends who are like, I don't understand, what's the big deal? You know, there are 30 million people and in my county, in my state, and only 20 people have died, which is a super low death rate. Why are we shutting down schools? And they're a doctor. Comment if your doctor isn't taking this seriously. Share this video with them if you have a doctor friend who needs to hear this. I kept my F-bombs to 2 this video, so you can feel free to share. Now, this is a disease of younger people in America. Why? We have morbid obesity. Morbid obesity. Why is that important? You do not have the lung capacity, the lung reserve. Have you seen obese people try to go upstairs? or have trouble coming down a flight of stairs, or they walk 2 blocks and they have to sit down? Have you been at an amusement park with an obese person and they're like, you guys go on the ride, I'm just gonna sit down at this park? They're sitting down because they can't breathe. And this is a lung disease. You're gonna die from pneumonia if you catch coronavirus. So what you're gonna see is that the age curve drop in America. It's gonna go down. It's not gonna be 80s. We are already seeing in the 60s. We're already seeing cases in the 50s. We are already seeing intubated people in the 40s. And I just told you today, my friend, my colleague in New York said they have 4 patients in New York who are in their 30s on a respirator, on a ventilator. And the only comorbidity they have is the fact that their BMI is over 30. Think about that. Think about that, and think about spring break. We're in the middle of spring break. I'm in Galveston on vacation. I'm doing this Facebook Live every day even though I'm on vacation. You have spring breakers in Miami who are on the beaches, who are in South Padre Island, who are not ignoring the bans, who are still getting drunk, because they think this is just a flu. And then they're going to be fine. They're right. Most likely, they're going to be all right. But guess what? They're going to come home and they're going to give it to their mom, to their dad. They're going to pass it to grandmother. And remember what I told you guys. We do not peak. We do not peak in this until mid-May. So we are not out of the woods. We are not going back to school in 2 weeks. We are not going back to school on April 24th. We are not going back to school. I promise you. Trust me. Have I been wrong yet? Other than the low numbers? I've been off on the low numbers. It's worse than I said a week ago. Yo. So let me do the math for you real quick. March 11th, the World Health Organization declared this a pandemic, and that's when I started paying attention. March 11th. Today's March 21st. 10 days, y'all. 10 days. March 11th, in the United States, we had 1,600 cases. 10 days later, 10 times would be 16,000 cases. We are at 18,000 cases 10 days later. Guys, we are at 280 deaths. Tomorrow, we'll have 25,000 cases and probably 450 deaths in the United States alone. Okay, we're at 280,000 worldwide with 11,700, so 12,000 deaths worldwide. We are worse than a flu. So this is not the flu. We've killed more people in a matter of 6 weeks than an entire flu season, which usually goes from when? September all the way to May. We've already killed more people. More people have died already, okay? In a matter of weeks, guys. Start taking this seriously, dickheads. This is not the flu. This is serious stuff. So now I have a New York colleague who tells me they have 4 cases of people in their 30s, 30 years old, on respirators. BMI of 30 is their only comorbidity. They don't have diabetes. They don't have lung issues, right? All they have is obesity, is BMI of 30. And that's not even super big. That's 40 pounds overweight. Look at yourself in the mirror. You know, 2/3 of y'all fit that criteria. Okay? So this is not a disease of the old. The numbers are going to drop down. You're going to see it get younger and younger in America. We are 2 weeks behind Italy, and everybody's falling into the Italian curve. Don't listen to the Chinese data. Listen to the Italian data. And we are worse off than Italy 2 weeks ago. Italy has surpassed China in the number of cases. They have half the number of cases, and they surpassed them in the number of deaths. So China is roughly 81,000 cases, 3,100 deaths. What's the big deal, Dr. Vuong? Well, Italy has 40,000 cases and 4,000 deaths. Almost a 10% death rate. And we are worse off than Italy was 2 weeks ago. So let's just do the math, okay? I think the doubling time is not 4 days. I think it's probably closer to 3.5 days. So that means, right, by April Fool's Day, today's the 21st, so in 3 days. So we're at 18,000. March 24th, we'll have 36,000 cases. March 27th, we will have 72,000 cases. 72,000 cases. This is the United States alone, right? March 27th. March 30th, we're going to have 144,000 cases. So that by roughly around April Fool's Day, right? We're going to have 200,000 cases. 200,000 cases in the United States alone. 200,000 cases with roughly a 2% death rate, right? 4,000 people will be dead on April Fool's Day from coronavirus. 200,000 cases. You can track, see if I'm accurate. So April Fool's today, so 9 days from now, 10 days from now, another 10 days, 31 days in March, another 10 days, we're going to have 200,000 cases in the United States and 4,000 deaths. And here's the fucked up part, guys. A month ago, none of y'all knew about coronavirus. A month ago, you all thought this was a Chinese thing. A month ago, you didn't know. A week ago, they canceled the NBA season. You were pissed off. A week ago, they started canceling all the concerts, and you were pissed off. You guys follow what I'm saying? And then the naysayers are like, I don't get it, because you can't do math. All right? Now, stick with me. That's April 1st. I simplified it. I could be wrong, but 200,000 by April 1st, which means what? April 4th, 400,000. 400,000 cases. April 8th, 800,000 cases. April 7th or 8th, 800,000 cases. Now you're talking April 10th, 11th. April 10th, 11th, you got 1.6 million cases in America alone. We don't have enough respirators, guys. We don't have enough ventilators. We don't have enough equipment. Dr. Vuong, I want to get tested. Dude, we don't have enough coronavirus tests. And if we did, we don't have enough reagents to do the testing. They're out of reagents. We don't have enough personal protection equipment for our nurses and our healthcare workers and our frontline people. These masks are not going to help you. Social isolation will help you. Stay at home. Wash your hands 20 seconds. Don't be arrogant. Stay away from grandmother. Don't go visit grandpa who's on oxygen. What's wrong with you? My goal is, thank you for everyone who shared this video. My goal is to do a Facebook Live a day, because I feel like of all the surgeons on this planet, I have one of the largest followings, and I can somehow distill it to help you guys understand, spread the word, share it. I've been trying to edit it down on my YouTube videos, but it's taking too long. So you can find it on YouTube channel, and you can get through all the hellos a lot sooner. I edit it down. But you need to share this information, because we are having people who are still out there on the beaches during spring break. And they're like, I just turned 21. I don't want this to mess up my spring break. Dude, is that what you're going to tell your grandmother when you give it to her? I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't mean to give it to you. I just didn't want to miss out on spring break. Really? Really? That's what you're going to tell Grandma? So what we're seeing is you're going to have a downward trend of the disease process. 80 years old. Anybody who is still stuck on this is an old person's disease, you're only at risk if you're 80 years old, they are behind the times. Tag them right now and say, listen, you are behind the times. It's not 80 years old disease. We are seeing it younger and younger. The Italians have stopped intubating 80-year-old people. They will not ventilate them because they're out of respirators. And we are falling in line with the Italian data, except for one thing. We are worse off than Italy was 2 weeks ago. We are worse than Italy 2 weeks ago. It's getting younger and younger. The Italians are reporting 60-year-olds. Their average death is 60-year-olds. I have a colleague in New York who said there are four cases of people with the coronavirus on respirators in their 30s. And the only difference is they had a BMI of 30 or more. That's pretty much most of y'all watching me, because I'm a weight loss surgeon. The trend is going to go down younger and younger and younger because we have morbid obesity, right? So what I want you to do is, if this has been helpful, alarming, I don't care, please hit share. I'll be back tomorrow to do a broadcast. I do a Facebook Live a day, and I'm going to show you how coronavirus kills us. I'm going to show you exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a very sobering talk. I love you guys very much, all right? Blessings to y'all. Blessings to my first responders. Blessings to the nurses. and the doctors on the line who are out of personal protection equipment, who can't get masks because people have stolen the gels, off the hand sanitizers off the wall, they've stolen the gloves, they've stolen all the stuff. And our first responders, our nurses, our phlebotomists, our doctors can't protect themselves. And guess what? Then they have to go home to their families. They're helping you with your family, and your mom is sick and you're stressed out. And now they have to go home and put their families at risk. And you won't share this video because you think I have an agenda. You think I'm trying to sell something. What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? How are you going to look at yourself in the mirror later? All right? So I love you guys very much. I love you guys very much. Stay safe out there. It's going to get a lot worse. We won't hit peak until mid-May. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye-bye now.